Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
Now, here's your host, Ed Cohen.
It's March 1. Can't wait for daylight savings time here in San Diego. The sun is up. And our special guest today is Dianne Devitt, who is going to talk with me today. And I have to tell you that I'm really excited, although this is like the 10th time that Dianne has been on Global TV Talk Show. This is like the culmination. This is the zenith of all of what's come before it over the last 2 years. We've been broadcasting, it's almost exactly 2 years ago to this day. Our very last live meeting occurred in Washington, D.C. on Embassy Row on February 27 of 2020. And February 25 was our last meeting in New York City, right in Times Square, overlooking where the ball drops. So here we are on Zoom TV, and Dianne Devitt and I are going to discuss media training, media presence. In other words, are you ready for your close-up? So I got to put my glasses on so I can see better. This is Dianne. Hello.
Only you, Ed. Only you. Well, listen, I didn't know that fact about your last live being in New York on Times Square. Wow, couldn't have planned that.
So I'll tell you, that was a sellout. It was in the accounting offices of RSM, and they invited clients, and I invited clients. In fact, our keynoter was a client of mine at the time, who was head of HR for Condé Nast. And
what a great meeting. But you know what? Look at where you are now, 2 years later, and now you've got all this footage that you'll show maybe on the big screen in Times Square one day, right?
Oh, that'll be cool.
We'll get your face up there. I promise you we'll get your face up in Times Square. How's that?
We'll show the logo, not my face, but maybe two. I could just like hold it up or something.
All right, I'm promising your audience that to be continued. Yeah, no, I really appreciate you letting me come on today and just like coming back, because I think this is something that, you know, some people, I've heard them say on the topic of media presence, oh, everyone's been doing that for 2 years and they're so used to it. Well, I have news for them. And no, they're not. Because I was just on a Zoom call yesterday, and it wasn't my place, but I was just so desperate to help the people who are still like this and like this and like this and not knowing where to look, and because it's not going away. That's the point.
Right.
Okay.
Well, so many of our people who are guests on our TV show think they're prepared. And then when I do the quick announcement, and here we are, you know, all of a sudden some people start fidgeting and or they left some overhead light shining and it's coming down, blaring the screen. And so we have to stop and say, you know, would you mind adjusting your screen, or would you mind shutting off that light?
Which is exactly what you and I spoke about working on for the guests in the show, is a little cheat sheet and a little checklist that we can email them prior to the show with 5 questions, you know, where's your window, where are your lighting, and all of that is stuff that we can get into as we delve further into this conversation during the shows, right? So yeah, no, I think it's like I say, and you know, the thing is what that came up in conversation the last time I was on is your target audience.
Yeah.
Your target audience. You work with, I mean, my understanding is hello corporate, you know, hello relocation, and hello human resources. People, right? It's all people. And it's people who find themselves in very vulnerable positions, looking for a job, relocating to a new location, going back to work for the first time. So many, you know, it's human emotions are behind everything.
You know, I was just reading an article as I was, you know, having a bagel and first coffee a little while ago this morning. And It was by Adam Grant, who's a columnist on LinkedIn. Okay, but CHRO, or it's something on that line. And he was interviewing CHRO for a big oil engineering company called Schlumberger, which is based in Paris, but they're all over the world. And so this guy, the interview subject and the topic of what I'm getting to here is that they have a very, very people-oriented philosophy in every corner of that large company. And it's not something new. They've had it a long time. And the guy who was Adam Grant's interview subject, CHRO or Schlumberger, was an engineer. And the CEO came to this guy some time ago as an engineer, and said, you get along well with people, we've noticed that. And so we want you to train, go over and learn how to be a CHRO. He says, what? Why?
What is that? What is that?
How do you engineer? How do you engineer people relations and putting together an HR function? So he says, well, that's exactly, the CEO said in this article, that's exactly what we need done. There's something wrong. HR is this large organization. People don't like it. And some people do, but a lot of people fear it. They don't want anything to do with HR. So we want to make HR into a people-friendly and very efficient organization that's helpful to people developing their capabilities. And we think that you can engineer a way of doing that.
And
he did it. And that's what the article's success was all about. And that thing is happening right now as companies are reimagining what they need to do to communicate better with their people. Never mind the stakeholders, the customers, and the public.
yes,
Mainly the employees and the families, because everyone's been through a tough time. And it's not over, particularly right now. It's March 1 and there's conflict, war in Europe. And it's very, very unsettling to me, and I'm sure to others as well. And so everybody's impacted by this.
everybody.
Just in a second, let me tell you that this Friday, March 4 at 10 a.m. California time, I'm broadcasting a show with an expert in diplomacy and world affairs. And this guy has lived and worked in Russia, as well as in other countries, and understands precisely what's going on right now. And so the theme of this broadcast we're doing on Friday is number 3 in a series called Geopolitics Impacting Trade and Company People Policies. And so it's fascinating to me. And we're going to talk about current events and how they're impacting companies. And that, coming back to you, you have been involved in staging, producing large meetings.
I was just gonna
right?
gonna comment on that, because this morning in my news briefs, one of the major media magazines did an article on how the meetings and events industry is pushing back with this, with Russia. And, we're not political, but we involve the world. And there is a major show happening, and the Russian representatives were not permitted to come in. Other major shows that were happening in Europe or that Russia were pulled out. So you're right, Ed, in the schemas, the world has become so small, especially over the last 2 years. We were on a screen, whether it's Malaysia or Maui, or it doesn't matter. We're on the screen with people. And so yes, so it affects us all. But But that being said, getting back again to being on screen, think about the impact of the messaging that you're delivering by your visual impression, by your visibility, and especially, and I say for everyone, but most especially, I'd say for senior leaders, senior management, who have a reputation, want to be understood, and are creating an awareness. And actually that goes for everyone, doesn't it? And that's why I was saying, like with human resources and with relocation, I mean, my gosh, so yes, so this whole concept and what you're doing by having this conversation will help a lot of people.
So the concept now in companies, and we have unfortunately just about 15 minutes, but we can cover a lot of ground. Our readership, our audience, if you will, is Fortune 1000, mostly large companies, and our portal is, our entry is the HR function. And what does HR mean today? Well, it's everything from talent recruitment, whether there's a tech person in Singapore who's working remotely for a company in Chicago, or somebody in Chicago working for a Chicago company. Getting people, finding people, bringing them along, developing them, and when things get normalized again, relocating them to fill a position. And then they've learned new things, they've developed new skill sets, and then bringing them back or sending them on to another position. And then they become a mentor to the people following behind. It's all organizational development stuff. So the people involved in all of that, these are our core customers. And, we're not talking CEOs. I don't really care about that. I care about senior managers and leaders within organizations. And then the services, products, services, whether it's tax, legal, banking, tech, recruitment, operational, mobility is, of course, the management of the people and the whole process. All of these things are revolving constantly and changing. So, Dianne, how should people, business people, think about using TV without being self-conscious?
Good question. So using Zoom, using any platform where
Right.
we're having a visual conversation, right?
Yeah, right.
So I had created a media presence coaching program, and as part of that, it's a process, and there's I'm just looking in front of me. I mean, I have a form here that I'm happy to share eventually, but because it gets you to think. In other words, what challenges are you having when presenting, when participating, when conducting a meeting online? Like, what are your challenges? And number two is, I'd say, what are your personal objectives? You have one set of objectives. I have another. What do we want to accomplish from that? And I often think about, I've done a lot of work, and we've spoken about this in sensory communication. 80 to 85% visual is what we remember. So that old expression, well, you make a first impression in less than 7 seconds. You can argue if it's 3, you can argue if it's 5, you can argue whatever, but it's less than 7 that makes everybody happy. The reality to that is that every second, 11 million nonverbal sensory little neurons are moving around to create that. And so that's where that actually comes from. But let's take that into reality, is your first impression. And I was thinking about this story this morning, in that I can recall this like it was yesterday. And this is for your global mobility, relocation, human resources. I wanted this one job that I was interviewing for so badly. so badly. And I went in person, but it doesn't matter if it was in person or it was on a Zoom call right now with you and I. And it was for a company that was known for its creativity and its, openness and this and that. So I thought I'd do the right thing and dress creatively. And I wore these big earrings when I think about it now. And I was so focused on it. I met with one of the senior people at the time. And afterwards, when I followed up, they said, no, you didn't get the position, but so-and-so would like to know where you got your earrings. I was devastated, but it taught me the biggest lesson in my life, because I wasn't trained for broadcast. I wasn't trained to be on a screen or the visualness of it, is that first and foremost, we don't want to distract the person who's looking at us. And that is the basics, there are new features on Zoom, and this and that allow you to stop your looking at yourself. So in other words, I can be speaking, looking in the camera, but I don't see myself, right? But other people see you. But if you lose that awareness, again, let's go back to awareness, and you're thinking and you forget you're on a camera. And then the messaging and the impact and how I want to be perceived in that specific moment are lost. And people, let's go back, 80 to 85% will remember how you looked, and it's a good story to share with their friends that day. Oh, did you know so-and-so scratched or did or what? We know the stories. We know the stories. Right?
I know.
So I think, so when I go back, when you and I go back to the basics of objective, and again, visually, I deliberately put up this background today because this is my media presence.
Connecting the dots.
Background. Yes, connecting the dots, but it's also my media presence backdrop, right?
And we're color coordinated. I'm wearing blue. You're wearing
blue, and we're blue, and the little white pearls go with the dots. Everything is orchestrated because it's a business setting.
Right.
Now, when I'm online and it's personal, I don't have my green screen up. I don't have the virtual. I don't have the background up because I want to be more approachable. I want to be more, it's not a business setting, it's a personal setting. So it's a little bit, so again, this is just in the brief time we have to plant some seeds with people that it's really important to the outcome of your time online, what you look like, right?
So with that in mind.
Yeah.
Okay, look at something dropped. So look at my eyeglasses. Okay.
Right.
Okay, number one. And now
I like them, Ed.
Oh, these.
Two different looks, right?
Totally different, right?
So
I think these are more standoffish.
Well, they're more newspaper man, they're more
Clark Kent.
This is a little bit more, laid back. No,
it's sort of transparent.
Transparent, yeah.
They
but I don't
see my eyes or something.
Yeah, but the other ones work too. If you're having a more serious conversation, maybe you want, framing anything focuses us. So yeah, you're absolutely right. But everything you wear, everything you have in your background, and it all matters, right? It all matters.
We have 7 minutes. So I wanted to ask you to show the camera the covers of your books.
Oh,
and let's talk about
so much. Well, right.
What are they about?
So my first book that I wrote is called What Color Is Your Event? And this is actually a handbook and a resource for creative thinking for people who put together any kind of gathering. It's meetings, events, production. Every single page has 3 to 5 creative ideas on it. And but helpful ones in terms of the strategy and implementation of putting and getting something to be live, whether it's on screen or not. Yeah.
So you're wearing blue.
I am.
I'm wearing a stripe.
I'm very impressed, by the way. I'm very, very proud of you.
I know. I thought about black. Nah, we're wearing too much. So, but blue is like a calming thing, more.
Blue is blue. Yeah, blue is also communication. So it's calming and gets people to talk. It's it has a lot of good qualities to it, but it's also a business color. Blue helps people. You'll see a lot of blue on media, right? Because it reads well on the camera, the blue. So that's a whole different subject. And when I wrote the book, what color, I used it obviously as a metaphor, but I do use color as we refer to like people who are colorful or have a personality. When you have a gathering, or you have any two people together, it can be yellow, or it can be or brown. And then the second book that I collaborated with 17 other women on is the name of it is called To Lead. It's Success Strategies for Women. And actually what we're doing is working with human resource professionals to establish this in the next coming year, which I'm very excited about, monthly or bi-monthly, whatever works for the firm or the company, for women, a facilitated retreat. So out of the 17 authors here, there's all different topics like creative leadership and inspirational leadership. I'm the creative leader. And so each time would be a different topic for training and development. So it's good. Yeah, I'm very excited about that one.
Hi, this is Ed, and I thank you for tuning in to Global TV Talk Show, a unit on globalbusinessnews.net. We broadcast to the world, as you know by now. So I wanted to make sure that you understand that our programs are advertising supported. We're grateful for co-sponsors, advertisers. They have a marketing budget coupled with a strong desire to be associated with our top quality program. And of course, I'm grateful. Well, here's our advertisers, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes or so, and we'll proceed with this interesting conversation. Thank you.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by Porchlight Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
And by airs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at airs.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com. Become a global player in your field.
Cross Culture to Go provides virtual support for your global business and career success.
We can help you thrive in 140 plus countries and markets.
On the web at crossculturetogo.com.
We are pleased to welcome Adamo Education as a proud sponsor of Global TV Talk Show.
The concept of a microschool is the reimagining of the one-room schoolhouse. My name is Tamara Becker. I'm the president and CEO of Adamo Education. The microschool concept really does not just lend itself to the personalization and the customization of learning, but also the social development and fostering that sense of love for learning. Unlike what we see in traditional brick and mortar schools, we have multiple grade levels in the same learning space. Students can be enriched by the socialization that they get, as well as the academic support from peers. What differentiates Adamo is the fact that we are taking the best pieces of brick and mortar, of digital, and then at-home learning. Students here can come 5 days a week. They can come 4 hours a day. It will really just depend on what is best for the student and for the parent. To enroll, just reach out via phone, text, or email, and we'll have that personalized conversation, and we'll be able to get you all set. Check us out at adamoeducation.org.
So in terms of going forward, in this year of recovery, economic recovery, and fingers crossed for peace in Europe, but and everywhere else. But businesses are in a recovery mode, whether it's a small shop or a Fortune 500 company, because everyone has been impacted by the pandemic one way or another, and everything has been impacted. And so what do you say about that as we come to a close here? Or what do you want to leave with the audience about what you specialize in? You're a professor at NYU. You have written these books. You've done many stage productions. So the microphone is yours.
What I would like to leave people with is, and you're exactly right, Ed, is we're all in this together, and that whether you're a big corporation or a small company, the focus right now has to be on people, on emotion, on emotional development, on emotional recovery. That being said, leaders need to be leaders.
Not managers. You can't manage people, you lead people, right?
Right. People need to follow people who are going to take them where we all need to go and want to go. And so the thing that is to me most critical is that communication. So I think the world has opened up an opportunity more than ever for business to speak, to really speak, to form what will work next. I read a disheartening article a couple of weeks ago about the whole changing work environment and how there was someone on Wall Street. There were people, a couple of fellas on Wall Street who worked in an office who were trying to have a contest. Who could do the least work in the week without being found out? And I thought, what is the world coming to? So I think that business, my field, and my skills have been transferred from 30 years of events and meetings and organizational behavior, creating those team building environments, into working with cultures, working with corporations, working with people to design a culture of collaboration. Because a culture of collaboration is a culture where creative thinking will happen, because people will feel safe and secure. So that's what I'd like to leave everyone with, is embrace this time, bring the people in who can help you facilitate the change, and know that nothing is going to happen overnight.
So the theme could be going forward, one of the themes, developing our own capabilities, and the boss is in charge of allowing us to have that capability within that organization.
Yeah, I want to say in charge, or
everything.
I use the phrase is to give permission to play. You see, because play was actually created by Plato. When you go back to the Roman times, he wanted to create a society that would flourish. That was his thing. Flourish through education, flourish through the arts, flourish through working together for a common good. And frankly, the definition of play is just to create a safe and secure environment so that people interact without feeling threatened. And that's what we need today.
Dianne Devitt, what's your website?
DianneDevitt.com. Two N's, two T's, right?
That's great.
Anyway.
And everyone can see Diane's name right there on the screen, to my left of your head, that I'm looking at. And she's on LinkedIn. And I really thank you for being on
Thanks so
Global
much, Ed.
TV talk
Thanks so
show.
much. You know what? I appreciate it because we're all in this together, and the more we speak, the more we share, the closer we become and the better we become. And that's what it's all about.
So Dianne is going to be one of our leaders of the hashtag Break the Bias, celebrating and supporting International Women's Day, March 8th, coming up. And I'm producing this global telecast, which has 27 speakers from 20 countries. And so thank you for being on that program. And it'll be fast paced, but you'll make new connections. And by the way, audience, you're all invited to tune in. Contact me for information at my email publisher at globalbusiness.media. Comes right to me. Thank you, Dianne Devitt.
Thank you. Bye, Ed.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.